It was taking forever to go live. I was like, anyway, hello, I am Demetra K. Hope that you're having a great day. As you can see, I'm sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner. I'd like to say a big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. To my wonderful moderators, thank you for all that you do. I see Mike, nice to see you. All that you do and moderate in the comment section, it is much appreciated. Today, we're going to be having a conversation about them folks facing a harsh reality of voting for Trump after being hit hard by his economic performance. So we're going to get into all of that. Let's see, who else do we have on here? And Clipper, how you doing? So we'll jump into it, and then I'm going to pass it off to Donovan, like usual. So anyway, as you guys know, there's a lot going on in the country. Trump is in his, second term. So his second term, his second year of his second term, and depending on who you ask, there's things are not going so good, especially with the economy. So just to give you a recap before I show you a video of some of those people, like, wait a minute, I didn't anticipate this, okay? Now, as you guys may or may not know, inflation, as some people say, is through the roof, depending on who you ask. Normally, it should be about 2%, but it's about 3.5%. And when inflation is high, that means that everything else goes up, right? The cost of living doesn't really keep up, and so it's hard to really budget and things like that. Also, a rising energy cost is going up. As you guys may or may not know, we are smack dab in the middle of a war with Iran. When I say we, I mean the United States and Israel. This happened, was it like a couple months ago, where they thought it was going to be one and done, right? They being the United States and Israel. Well, Iran said, hold my beer. And in fact, we closing up the Strait of Hormuz, right? Where 20% of, a lot of cargo goes through there. And so from that point, there's been a lot of issues with gas and things like that. Barrels of oil have gone up and down. I think last week it finally came back down, because Trump, he'll announce, oh, we've got a deal. And Iran will get on the social media and say, he a lie. We ain't making no deals, right? Because Trump's deal is, oh, they're giving up their nuclear weapons. And of course, when they bombed Iran last year, they said we destroyed their nuclear weapon capabilities. And they was like, hello, it's me, okay? So with that, the barrels of oil are going up and down. We know that gas on average is about $4, give or take, on average, okay? So people are feeling the pinch there, of course, with food and just a whole host of other things. Then you have the new tariffs. How about those new tariffs, right? That Trump imposed upon the United Kingdom, Mexico, Canada, and China, 10 to 12.5%. And on Canada, he levied an extra 50% on dairy, automobiles, and alcohol. Okay, so if you drinking Canadian alcohol, you might as well sip slow, homie. Okay, and so that, of course, gets passed on to the consumer. Okay, and a lot of things come from China. Let's just, think about that. Okay. And let's see what else we have. The labor market, okay? Now, of course, y'all know that the Trump administration, this second term, they kind of got rid of some things with the labor market, basically saying, oh, they're not telling the truth. Well, they were thinking that this last reporting was going to show an increase of jobs. Well, the labor market is soft, okay? And so the economy or the labor market saw 23,000 jobs lost last month, okay? So that means that 23,000 people either lost their jobs or the position just went away, okay? That's not good. So there are a lot of Trump supporters who are disappointed, okay? They're like, wait a minute now, I didn't vote for this, for myself, right? Now, I want to show you what he said in regards to, the economy and people complaining. This is what he tweeted on his Truth Social. He says, my real polling numbers, not those made up by the fake news media, are the best they have ever been. And why wouldn't they be with the biggest tax cuts and employment numbers ever? Now, again, we just heard that the labor market saw 23,000 jobs lost, okay? Now, he says the biggest outside investment in America in world history, a totally secure border, a giant victory in Venezuela. Y'all know they kidnapped the president. The denuclearization of Iran. Iran says, stop lying, okay? Unparalleled respect and success throughout the world, and much more. Don't believe the radical left's fake poll numbers. They are crooked and corrupt, just like the country destroying Democrats or Democrats rather, are cooked and corrupt. Vote Republican for greatness of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump, okay? So he's basically saying it's not true, okay? That 32% of Americans do not like my economic policies, okay? That's what, let's see here, Americans for Prosperity Action, a PAC, right? A Republican PAC, basically saying this is what's going out. They're also saying that 1 in 5 reliable Trump supporters in places like Ohio, Montana, North Carolina, and other places are like, yeah, I might sit on the couch or vote for a Democrat this in the midterms. Trump, I'm not feeling Trump right now. It is also said that between 51 and 55% of Americans are reporting that they are struggling with basic necessities like food and gas, right? And other things. They're like, I don't know where I'm going to get the money. Now, with these tariffs that have been levied, these new tariffs, now basically they're saying, because y'all know the Supreme Court through the last tariffs that Trump tried to do, they're very egregious all over the world. The Supreme Court said, yeah, no, you can't do that. But they found a loophole in some policy that's from the 1970s that basically says if they find, I guess, that other countries have an egregious labor, like, so basically harsh labor policies, then they can then levy taxes. So that's the loophole that they're finding. But they're saying that adds, anywhere from $900 to $920 on average to Americans every year, okay? So that might not sound like a lot to some people, but to some people who are already struggling, they're like, yeah, no, it's a lot going on. But what I want to do is show y'all a video of people complaining. It's a short video. They are in Ohio, and they are Trump supporters, and this is how they feel about what's going on.
I was hoping that gas was gonna go down so I could do something, You can't do anything with gas prices, and you just can't afford to breathe at this point.
Well, I can get laid off tomorrow, then I'm pretty much homeless. Because, you can't save now.
No, I'm good on Trump, man. That's all I got to say.
What does it feel like to be living in these conditions right now, in these economic conditions right now?
Hurt, very hurt. I try to do, sorry, I cried. I try to do a lot for my kids, and I can't do much.
If you could send a message to the president right now, what would you tell him?
He needs to look out for the American people instead of himself. Put us first.
Does America feel great again?
No, not at all.
Okay. So as you saw there were some voters, if you will, Trump voters in Ohio, basically lamenting about what is going on the Trump's economy. One says that she cannot afford to breathe, right? That's pretty deep. And I always joke about that by saying, even stepping outside, it costs you, extra money to breathe. One says that if he loses his job, that he could become homeless. And I think that's probably true for a lot of people. In fact, we are, seeing an uptick of people who are homeless. One said, she goes back to say she can't do anything for her kids, right? She likes to do everything for kids. And she, got teary-eyed there. She also said that she was hurt. Now, as I'm, and I've watched this video a couple times, and there's actually a longer version where she basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, but I didn't think, that was going to affect me, right? Now, I should also say that there are people who voted for Trump for various reasons, okay? Whether it was, to combat illegal immigration, or whether they felt like they made more money, because a lot of people said that in his first term, they thought, okay, this is where we're going to go back to. But unfortunately, a lot of people are like, yeah, that's not what's happening. And one guy, he says, why don't he help everybody else? Because he's basically helping himself. It is said that Trump, I'm going to say allegedly, has seen this term about $2 billion more in his bank account. Of course, we know that he commandeered a $400 million plane, from overseas and things like that. Now, as I was thinking about today, and I was thinking about this video, okay? And I was thinking about those people, I said, wow. And I talk about this all the time. White supremacy hates white people too. Now, what I mean by that is, and you think of the term supreme, okay? If you are believing that you are superior to somebody, you don't think, and pretend I'm white and I'm not, okay? If I'm white and I'm a white supremacist, I don't think I'm on the same level with somebody who lives in Alabama in a trailer park anywhere, right? I'm not. I'll never be in the same circles with you, okay? So when people like that, the white supremacists, right? If you believe Trump to be that, and the Republicans or whoever, they're all white supremacists to me for the sake of argument. But when they get in office, they're not thinking about the everyday people. What they do is they feed red meat to the base. Now I want to go back to 1865. Okay, when the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, got hot and popping, it was started by Confederate soldiers, right? They were mad that they lost.
Democrat Confederate soldiers, by the way.
Can I finish? Thank you. Okay, they were mad that they lost the Civil War, so they started there in Tennessee. I think it's Pulaski or something like that. Tennessee, they started the KKK. Now, again, they were mad that they lost the war. They were also wanting to organize against the Republican Party because black folks could vote back then, only men at the time, black men. So they did not want black folks to get political power. Okay, we were recently freed off the plantation and we was like, hey, we want to get involved civically. And so from that point, yes, black men were holding office. And so again, they wanted to make a move against the Republicans, they being the Democrats, a move against the Republicans and say, hey, well, if we can't vote them out or whatever, we'll start this campaign of terror because we want to keep it tight. We want to keep it white. So even with that, back then, people, and let's keep it a buck. Like I always say, the KKK, when we think about the KKK, we think about Jethro, right? He's got on some overalls. He's had them since he was 9 years old and he's 39, okay? He got 3 teeth, and just can't spell cat, right? That's what we think about when we think about the KKK, but we don't think about the judges, the senators, the lawyers, the police officers, right? Those are the type of people that were in the KKK. And they were thinking about power and money and organizing against black folks. Now, I would imagine I wasn't there back then. A lot of the poor whites was like, well, that sounds like something I want to do, okay? So they did it as well. And things weren't that much better for them either, right? You even go somewhere to like the Great Depression where it was bad for everybody, but it was just as bad. It was worse for them, okay? They were also in the, the soup lines and things like that. Now, again, as I was thinking about this, I thought about, okay, well, MAGA is kind of the same thing, okay? Because again, people from all over voted for Trump for different reasons. But those who voted for Trump out of Make America Great Again, which came about in 2014, give or take, when Trump was talking about running for office, he was talking about Obama not being born here and everything. Make America Great Again basically was like American first, right? Everything's America first, whether it's the people, the money, whatever it is, okay? We're going to do the made in America. And then people found out that Trump was still getting his suits and ties and shirts and things like that made in China, okay? As he says, China. So a lot of people bought into that. But most people who look and step back at MAGA was like, well, did you buy into MAGA because you wanted to, make sure things were American made? Or did you buy into MAGA because for you, making America great again goes back to the time where you can be anti-black and anti a whole lot of other stuff, specifically anti-black, because let's keep it real. Back in the KKK days, it was black and white. It was some other people here, right, like the Chinamen and things like that. They was catching hell, but they didn't catch the hell that we caught. And of course, the Jews were here, but by that time, they had, got real buddy, what they call with the Gentiles, right, the whites. And so they were kind of one and the same at one point in time. So here you are in 2026. A lot of those people wanted to go back to those days that their granddaddies and their grandmamas used to tell them about, where you can just get out in the public square and call people the N-words. You get your teeth knocked out still, but call people the N-words and all kind of stuff. And, even with, immigration, right? I'm not talking about legal immigration. I'm talking about illegal, or I'm talking about regular immigration and illegal immigration, right? Right now, especially somewhere in Texas, they're literally trying to vote against Muslims not being able to wear hijabs, in class or just out in public. They're voting against halal meat. It's like, are you for real? That's just basically clean meat. You know what I mean? So anything Muslim, they're moving against. You hear this rhetoric and stuff all over the country. But then when you see a video like that, it's like, well, I wasn't voting for me not to be able to buy stuff for my kids. I was voting, against them, right? The blacks. or anybody else that's not like me. Now, if you saw the video, I don't know what those people do in their regular life, but they don't look like they're hanging out with Melania, right? Melania or Trump. And the reality is, for a lot of those people who are MAGA, they thought that, well, Trump's just like me. And as I always say, because Trump eats Big Macs and McDonald's don't mean that he gonna eat one with you, right? Or he's gonna have a beer with you. Trump doesn't even drink. But a lot of people felt like finally he's gonna make things right for me. And it's like, no, Trump is not different than any other person that's occupied the White House. As we always also know, Trump is a salesman, okay? He has a silver tongue. That's what he does, right? He's a real estate magnate and all these other things. So he knew what to do to sell red meat to the base. He said it a long time ago on Oprah's show. He was a Democrat. Don't forget that, okay? It's important. A lot of people, for whatever reason, gloss over that, and you hear his rhetoric about the Democrats, and they ain't ish, don't get me wrong, but his rhetoric about the Democrats, the Democrats, the this, the that, everything bad is the Democrats' fault, okay? But you got to remember, he used to be one. But see, the people who follow him, I don't know if they forgot it, they just don't know, but he said on the Oprah show, I can run as a Republican and I'd probably win, okay? Because he knew what to do. He knew what the underbelly, right? It had went on the ground, the underbelly of America, racism, what they really wanted. What they really wanted was to be unapologetically racist again, okay? Let's keep it a buck. That's what they wanted. And he found a way to somehow give it to him, okay? And so they thought, Trump is for me. In fact, you still hear people talk. I was out today, saw a flag, Trump 2028. But now a lot of people who voted for him are realizing, oh, well, when you cut the food stamps off or you make these requirements, that means me too. I saw a video, I think Brother Phil played it the other day, of a white man, crashing out at the grocery store because his food stamps couldn't buy him this, that, and the other. They didn't think, that when they do what they did to the healthcare, right? Not funding it the way it's supposed to be funded or whatever, they didn't think that meant them. Of course, we learned, when Trump was in office the first time, a lot of those MAGA folks in Alabama, Mississippi, they were cool with getting rid of Obamacare. But then when they found out that Obamacare was the Affordable Care Act, they said, oh, really? Well, my wife can't. My wife's a diabetic and she can't. But see, they weren't educated. And so now they're having a harsh reality with them. That means me too. Here in Texas, due to what's going on with the food stamps at the feds, they said, I think it's 33 schools or something like that will not be able to feed children. Won't be able to feed children, because what it is their parents probably won't be able to qualify for food stamps under the new guidelines. And so usually if a child is on food stamps, it's easier for them to get free meals and things like that. And so they calculate it by that. So they said there's probably a lot of children that are going to go hungry. Well, do you think that's just Black children? Latino children? Asians? No, it's a lot of white folks, because despite what they tell you, a lot of white folks get food stamps, more so than Blacks. Now I know on a disproportionate level, that's a different conversation, but that means them too. So now they're having a come to Jesus moment. It's like, oh, when the gas prices went up, that means it went up for me too. Because some of them were disillusioned and thinking, well, MAGA means that Trump is for me. No, fool, you ain't gonna be able to ride on the $400 million plane. You ain't gonna be able to do that. So again, this is a great conversation. I think a very loaded conversation, and that be careful what you vote for. Again, not everybody voted for that, but be careful what you vote for, because you might be voting for your own demise. And we're learning every day. A lot of them white folks, especially, they're learning that Trump don't love you either, because Trump is actually orange. He's white underneath. Donovan?
Gotta say, that's one of the best intros that you've done in a very, very long time. I'm very surprised by it. Enjoyed it. And everything you said is very, very true. But here's the thing. before we get into that, guys, do us a favor, hit that like button, share, subscribe on your platforms, do all that great stuff. Also, don't forget that download the African Diaspora News Channel app. Still under $10, thanks to Brother Phil Scott, because we know we are in a recession and, you know, people are tight with the money. So until further notice, Brother Phil Scott is going to be doing that. Original content, Vicky Dillard, Brother Phil Scott, Dimitri K, Juan Gale, and a whole host of other hosts and original content. So please get a chance, Google Play, Apple Store. Now, my one question with everything that you said about Trump and all this other stuff, my one rebuttal to that is, what are the Democrats going to do any different? I do not see any Democrats coming up with any solutions. I don't see any Democrats suggesting any legislation. But this is what we've been trying to tell you guys for years. These people are the same. Like you just said, Donald Trump was a lifelong Democrat. A lifelong Democrat. He just switched parties just like that. And yet, of course he's enriching himself. We have laws. When you're a lame duck president, he only got about two and a half years to go. Hey, he ain't got to do nothing now. He's a lame duck president. Isn't that what Obama did? Hey, when you guys reelect me, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Got reelected. He doesn't have to keep anything. We've been telling you guys how politics works for years now. And this is where it's at. Yeah, he's going to enrich himself. What are the Democrats doing to enforce their policies and their rules to stop him from doing what he's doing? They could take all of those gifts from him that he receives, but they don't do it. Why? Because they're part of the club. There is no R and there's no D. There's no Republican, Democrat. It's all the ruling class. Jim Clyburn right now is running around blaming black people. 59% of black people didn't vote. They didn't vote. That's under the assumption that every black person votes Democrat. Do you see how ignorant this man is? But yet, he has one of the poorest districts in the nation, and he's a so-called powerful Democrat. So, when we talk about funding, and I'm not trying to play the blame game or anything like this. It is hard to fund Americans first when you're taking all your money to support all these damn illegals. This is what I was trying to tell you guys years ago, why Americans should be first. Because to balance the budget of your city or your municipality, depending on what your state statute says you have to do, you have to cut resources. So when you fund people that should not be here, other things have to be cut, which means your children suffer. Illegals have children that are in the school districts. When these children can't speak English, it slows down the rest of the classes and the teachers are overwhelmed. Are you guys understanding how this thing works? Everything Demetrius says is true, but at the end of the day, what do the Democrats have to solve these solutions? Because we saw what the Democrats did when they were in power for 4 years, letting almost 27 million people into this country and overwhelming us and using our resources. So the Democrats are also at fault at this situation. The Democrats, by the way, are also at fault at the return of Donald Trump. Why did Donald Trump come back so overwhelmingly? We don't even know if Demetrius' favorite senator, Mitch McConnell, is alive right now because nobody wants to see him. They won't show this man's body. We don't know if this man is cognizant or not, and yet there are no laws other than the Senate kicking him out completely, which they can do. Do you guys see the games that are going on? And we allow this, and now Rufus over there, I can't get a job. This, that. Me, Mr. Rufus, because he's not paying attention to what is going on. Why aren't you demanding that these laws be updated to a modern standard? Nancy Pelosi enriched herself over $300 million and walked into retirement without any implication. Not one investigation, not one thing. But if that was you or me, we'd be in jail within 30 days. And then we talk about, well, there are no jobs out there, whatever, 350 Haitians and Syrians have just been declassified as can't work. So there are jobs out there, but see, the problem is we don't want to work those jobs because those jobs are very minimal. You know, it's insanity here, you guys. It's insanity. But my question, Demetra, and to you guys out there is, like, I already know these parties are the same. That's why they don't penalize each other. They don't do anything to each other. But what do the Democrats have to offer that's different? It shows you right now the power that they have. They refuse to wield it. So if you won't even penalize the opposing party, let me put it to a sports analogy. You got the greatest team on the face of the earth, the Dallas Cowboys. And they are supposed to be defending their goal. And they don't do it. And they let the Philadelphia Eagles just run in, touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. Who's at fault here? Is it the Philadelphia Eagles or is it the greatest team on the face of the earth, the Dallas Cowboys? It's the Dallas Cowboys. So you, as the runners of this great experiment, my question to you is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to continue to vote for one party that seems to be enriching themselves and doing a little bit of get right, just a little bit? Or are you going to go for another party that told you right in your face, I'm not going to do anything specifically just for black people? No! So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? A party that represents non-Americans or a party that represents themselves and enriches themselves? It seems like we're in a trick bag. And my solution to this is, you better vet these candidates. I have a candidate in my city right now who is running for mayor, and I'm going to put the video up a little bit later. This woman is running for mayor, and she has the nerve to run around hyping the song, Where Are My Scammers At? This is where we're at. This is what we mean by vetting. This is what we mean by vetting. You better know what you're getting into, because in our system of politics, it's a two-party system. It's a two-party system. So I'm not saying one is better than the other because they're both crap, but you better vote your interests.
Absolutely. So, and hey, Thunder, I'm going to address what you said. And then Mark, thank you so much for the donation. Love it. Appreciate you for that. And then Donovan, that's what you said about the Democrats. So, Thunder, you say, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, I guess black folks, are better off. I kind of think that's what you said under Trump. And I agree with you. And I've always said that I think black folks are better off under Trump, simply because we know that. And I unapologetically tell you guys, I did not vote for Kamala. Okay. But if Kamala had gone back to office, black folks would not be better off. We were going to be rocked right back to sleep. Oh gosh, everything's good. Whew, that was close, right? That Kamala got in, but we know that what Kamala was championing, even though, you see her running around the country now talking about, oh, the Democrats are in trouble because of A, B, C, and D and stuff. But Kamala, she's now talking against the status quo. I just saw that she posted on her own page on Twitter that she's now against the status quo. But we know, especially when she was on The View with Sonny Hostin, she says, well, what would you do differently than Joe Biden? And she says, I can't think of anything. And what did Joe Biden say when he went to office? He said, I'm for the status quo. And then, of course, if you know what that is, as far as the Democratic Party, as a black folk person here in America, you should be terrified that he is for the status quo. And you name it, okay? So Kamala was not going to be any better. While she was called loosely the border czar, she tried to go after they were kind of getting their tailbone kicked in with this illegal immigration, with these open borders, that Biden said, hey, you black folks need to learn how to get along with the Hispanics because they're going to outnumber you. They tried to send her to the southern border because remember when she was asked, have you gone? Yes, she says no. And they said, why not? I think it was Lester Holt or somebody asked her. And she got an attitude. Well, I haven't been to a lot of places yet. So she tried to basically say, hey, okay, you guys don't come, stop coming here, okay? Don't come here. But it wasn't really what they wanted to do because we saw an influx. They had the app where people came to the border. They gave them a phone and said, hey, you can go here, there, and everywhere. You can get all the things that you want to get. A lot of those illegal immigrants went to black neighborhoods like Chicago, and a whole host of other places, right? We saw these black mayors, Brandon Johnson, who had really kind of got in there halfway through. They said that Chicago spent over $1 billion since 2022 on taking care of illegal immigrants that were housed in black neighborhoods, which is how you got something like Chicago flips red. Okay, they are trying to flip Chicago red, which is very blue. They got pretty close the last time. We got Danny C, who's running to replace Brandon Johnson, right? And of course, in New York, you saw the same thing, a black mayor who, gave illegal immigrants money, okay? Because they did not want to eat the things that they were getting in the shelters. And mind you, the shelter was a $350 room at the nicest hotel there in New York City, okay? So even just with those things, we know that black Americans here in America, descendants of slavery, are owed what? We are owed reparations. Kamala told us no. The Republicans don't even talk about it, but it is something that is owed our people that was promised. The 40 acres and the mule. We learned that the mule was borrowed, right? And a whole host of things that was rescinded and actually given to the slave master. So we have been asking for these things, and both sides of the aisle said no. However, with Trump, going back to what Thunder said, with Trump being in office, Trump is waking black folks up. And not only are black folks waking up, everybody else is waking up because, like I said, you not like Trump, okay? You'll never, ever be in the same room besides a rally, okay, when he's rambling with Trump, okay? And so with black folks, we're saying, okay, we're now, a lot of us are realizing the Democrats aren't our friends. They never have been. And we know the history of black folks in America with the Democrats. We've been voting, I know people say since the 60s, but we've actually been voting for the Democrats since the 30s, almost 100 years, because we were brought into the New Deal, okay? And that was reluctantly because FDR was struggling. He wanted to be reelected, okay? He was struggling, and so his wife was like, hey, the Negro can vote. We were still, suppressing all that, but they can vote. So he included us in the New Deal, and from that point, we're like, oh, okay, this looks pretty good, and then civil rights just really topped it off. But we have not been better off under the Democrats, and so now black folks are more having a conversation of do for self. Right? We're having a conversation of the wealth transfer. Let's stop giving 97% of $2 trillion spending power to everybody else, because we know that black Americans have been reduced to beggars because we give our money away and then we expect that things are going to turn around because we're told by these misleadership in the Democratic Party, whether it's an Al Sharpton, it's a Roland Martin, okay, and a whole lot of other people, that all you got to do is keep voting for the Democrats and things are going to get better. Well, I just said 100 years in, black folks are worse off. Okay, we have right around the same amount of wealth and land ownership than we did back then. So, Thunder, to your point, I 100% agree with you. And I've always said this, not because I like the things that Trump's doing. I like some things that he's doing, like, the immigration. If y'all haven't heard, they're revisiting the birthright citizenship thing, where they're basically saying, all right, this tourism, birthism thing that y'all got going on, you can't do that, okay? So but the Supreme Court told them when they struck down what he wanted, go back and figure it out. There's things that you can do, and so that's what they're doing, okay? Now, as far as Donovan, what you're saying about the Democrats, see, I hear what you're saying about the Democrats, but it gets into whataboutism, because Trump is president now. Trump is president. The Republicans right now, they have control, okay? And so these are the things that they are co-signing that Trump is doing. Some of them are starting to push back now because they're seeing what's happening with these, primaries and things like that.
Well, he's a lame duck.
Well, yeah. So he's a lame duck. But at one point in time, Trump not endorsing you was a kiss of death, politically speaking. But now people are starting to see that, people in their own districts, like a lot of Republicans, are saying, wait a minute now, all this foolishness y'all got going on, I'm all right with it hurting everybody else, but it's hurting me too, okay? So, yes, the Democrats are complicit in a lot of stuff. They don't give a damn, right? Because not right now, the Democrats are having an issue with the Democratic Socialists of America. They're infighting with each other because the DSA rather, they're basically like, we want to make it fair for everybody, okay? This is what they're saying, and they're winning. which is blowing the progressives, which I don't even know why they call themselves the progressives, right? The Democrats are blowing their mind where it's like, well, we don't want to destroy the party, do we? But the Democratic Socialists of America, whether you agree with it or not, are showing everybody it's doable. They've been saying that you can't do A, B, C, and D. We can't do the. Zoran Mondani, the new mayor in New York City, he proved to them that y'all lying. I'm about to build 5 grocery stores in the boroughs because we got food deserts here. They didn't want them to do that. They paying for child care and a whole bringing more moratoriums on the rent and all these other things. And so now the Democratic Party, the regular Democratic Party, they're having to figure out what is it that we're going to do. So what I'm saying, Donovan, is while the Democrats, yeah, there's some things that they could do. And yes, I agree with you that they, in a sense, did hand Trump the presidency, all the stuff he got going on. There's no way that man should have won. But because they were, so staunch on, illegal immigration, we're going to take care of them and all this other stuff. People were like, okay, it's not even cute anymore. Okay. Because while we see homelessness, people in America are homeless. Y'all spending all this money taking care of illegal immigrants right there in California, Donovan. Like I said, if y'all don't get it right, I'm never going to come back. But somewhere in California, they hate Californians. They being a Democratic Party, they run that joint. Let's just keep it a buck. They spend all that money taking care of illegal immigrants. And even here in Texas, they talking about spending $2.5 million on the investigation of the illegal immigrant, RIP to him. I'm not saying it was right. That, was shot by ICE agents. They're going to spend $2.5 million. But every day you walk, you drive around, you see people with tents on the freeways, all kind of stuff. So the Democrats are still up to their foolishness. So, but at the end of the day, Trump has to own this, okay? Because if he can make $2 billion for himself, plus enrich himself with a $400 million plane, can the rest of us get a ketchup packet?
Yeah, no, I agree with you hardly. Whoever's sitting in the seat owns whatever comes with it. Mondani, even though he said he's going to make these food deserts, you still got to get it through the council. So, saying something and actually doing it are two different things, as we know. So I'm not saying he can't do it, but again, if the New York City Council is like the LA Council and you've got nothing but a bunch of damn Democrats up there, why isn't anything getting done? See, that's the game, and that's what I want people to understand. The reason why a lot of Republicans are now pushing back is because Trump is a lame duck president, and they're not afraid. It's all political gamesmanship, and you got to understand how this works. That's why when Obama was ready to leave, what did he say? Oh, my hands were tied. There was nothing I could do. The Republicans obstructed me. But for the first 2 years, he had a super majority. He could have gave us reparations. He could have gave us whatever he wanted to do. But within his own party, the Democrats hate Negroes more than anything else. And that would have exposed a lot of Democrats. So what I'm saying to you guys out there, and we want to get to your comments because you guys have a better understanding of this than we do. What I want to say is this: in this election cycle, whatever your interests are, you need to vet these candidates. It doesn't matter if this guy's a socialist, whatever. If that's what you want to do and that fits your agenda, you go on ahead and do that. But I'll tell you one thing about the socialists. You got too many war veterans and people that are doing it. It ain't going to work. It's not going to get through, not on a national level. It ain't going to happen. We are not going to throw our democratic principles away just to let socialists and communists into the country. It's just not going to happen. Get it out of your head. I know a lot of you young people that are in the chat, you guys are, everybody's everybody and human beings are human beings, right? You have no country if you have no border. This is why we're in trouble right now. Look at how the illegal immigration has affected the regular citizen. So again, this election cycle, whatever your interests are, you better vet these candidates and hold their feet to the fire to what they say they're going to do. You give them one term. If they don't do it, you get them out of there. Let's hear what you guys got to say.
Absolutely. And I just want to give a point of clarification for the 5 stores that will be opening up at the end of 2027 in the 5 boroughs in New York City. He has secured $70 million to build 5 city-funded, city-owned grocery stores to combat the food desert. And the items in there will be at a 30% discount. So that is something that is going to happen. Just want to put that out there. I don't know how you could regulate
in an economy. That's what they tried in Cuba, what the prices are going to be. The market dictates what it's going to be. So I'm not saying it's not happening. What I'm saying is good luck with that. We'll see how it turns out.
It's the same way when you regulate giving money to illegal immigrants or any other thing that they do.
Well, no, in Cuba and in these communist countries. Wait. In these communist countries, when you regulate the market, it always fails. It always fails. You can't just say this is what the price is going to be. What business owner is going to work with that if you're saying, hey, you got to give it at a 30% discount? Again, even if it's city funded, what a distributor is going to say, hey, I'm going to give my goods over here for 30% discount when I can get 100% discount over here? I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but we're going to see it.
Economic class.
Yes, I did. I took my macro and micro, and matter of fact, I think I got a B on that, so I'm pretty good at that.
A B or a D?
A B. I'm just saying, you in the free market, when government regulates prices, if government regulating prices works so well, how come every year we keep dealing with senior medicine and negotiating that every year, and it keeps going up? When the government regulates it, it's worse. But I wish them luck. So we'll see.
So when people buy stuff from wholesalers and distributors, you think they're buying them at 100%?
No, not at all. What I'm saying, when the government dictates what the price is going to be. Like I said, look at our senior medical situation. Every year they say the government's going to give them at 30%, and it's worse. It's always worse.
If I'm city funded, which comes from taxpayers, right? City funded, the city owns the grocery stores. City is getting food from wherever, whatever they're putting in there. I'm sure there's a way that they can keep it, make it 30. I mean, they think of, let's not be silly here, okay? There's a lot of the food for less, okay? I'm a Cali girl, okay? Food for less is discounted from Ralph's, right? The Kroger owns Ralph's and Food for Less. Food for Less is their bargain store. You have an Aldi's, you have the dollar store. So you have different things that can make groceries cheaper. So when we say and listen, I suck at math, but I'm great at common sense, okay? So they spend money on a whole lot of things, okay? But to say, because I keep hearing this, when it comes to the grocery store, people being able to not have a food, and this is honestly, Donovan, I'm gonna get into the comment section. I want you to chew on this for a second. That's how Democrats sound. Oh, then that's why the DSA is whooping their ass. Okay, because, how will we do this and this, that, and the other? But we see and hear them wanting to give money to illegal immigrants and all these other things. But then when somebody says, I want to bring in a grocery store so people, disproportionately black folks, don't have to catch a bus or walk 20 country miles to go get a grape, then people, how we going to afford it? And what we going to do? That's why the Democrats is getting their asses whooped. But hold on to that. We'll get into the comment section.
Yeah, and I just want to add this. Like I said, I hear what you're saying, but you talk about New York City, as high as California. When the people are taxed up the yin yang, and it's a city-funded grocery store, so my taxes have to go up to fund the city-funded grocery store. And I'm gonna give you a better example. I was in the military for 24 years, right? My contract said that if I do my contract, I was going to be taken care of for the rest of my life. How many of you guys that have military background heard of TRICARE, which they still exist today? They said, when TRICARE came out, they said, it's only going to be $1 out of your pay. That's not a lot. TRICARE is one of the worst things you can do here in California. A lot of doctors don't take it. And TRICARE now, I believe for a family of 4, it's like I think it's like $370 a month. $370 a month. But my contract said I wasn't supposed to pay anything at all. So I'm not saying it's not going to work, but I'm just saying in a capitalist system, you look at Cuba. You guys look at those videos on Cuba, and then if we're talking about food for less and the 99-cent store, the quality of the food in those places and the vegetables is not that great. I'm not downing it, but it does exist. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, what's great in a bodega? I mean, I'm just asking. You ain't got to answer. I'm just asking.
I don't know about it, but I'm from California. I don't really know anything
Well,
about
I'm
bodega.
saying it's the same thing with the corner stores in the hood or whatever. They all the same. Bodega, liquor store, whatever, you know. And Narmer X, how you doing? Says capitalism never benefited black folks. Yeah, that's true. But capitalism can benefit black folks if we stop giving 97% of our $2 trillion spending power. That with $2 trillion spending power makes us about the 11th wealthiest country, give or take, in the world. So it could benefit us if we appropriate our money the right way, right? And then you say all these is not cheap. It's cheaper. That's the point. It's cheaper. I've been into all these before, and I would say that it is cheaper. Okay, whether it's cheap is subjective. I don't know, or objective rather. I don't know. Anyway, let's see who else came on here that I did not see. Cisco, what's going on? She says people want to blame the orange man. I understand their frustration. However, the economic disaster we're still recovering from was initiated under Biden. When you flood the border, equal inflation. Yes, that is a fair argument. You know, the incoming administration is riding off of the last administration's economy. So that is a fair thing. But you got to admit that when you're imposing tariffs here, there, and everywhere, we got a war going on in Iran. That wasn't going on back then, right? A lot of people knew to stay away from them. That is going on. Trump, Pete Hegseth, all them, they cannot figure out a way to get Iran to tap out. They say we're not tapping out, okay? So you factor in those things, yeah. You add a different set of circumstances, just common sense. But yeah, absolutely. Anyway, Philip, you say he got a D. I know. I was like, did you get a B or a D? Uden Warrior, what's going on? It says, you black people complain too much. Any other non-white racial group can come to America to get an education and do extremely financially well while y'all still complaining and broke. Well, you know, you better thank a black American, right? What did Kamala say? You better thank a union member. You better thank a black American that anybody that's come over to this country can do that. And I will concede to you, yes, black Americans better stop doing that, which is why I don't get too far into the weeds with it, right? But I understand the delineation conversation because of that. It's just a fact that every other group that has come over here and that so-called benefits, you know, are better off than black Americans. You better thank a black American that, you know, march for civil rights that benefits everybody else, right? We also know that when foreigners come over here, they get, you know, preferential treatment to a degree, whether it's, you know, different type of loans and all kind of stuff. You take the Asians. They say Asians, yes, you can get the loan, but you cannot open up in white folks' neighborhood. You better take it to black folks. And black folks, sometimes we so silly that we see them opening up and they cut the ribbon. And then we go right in there and don't care how they treat us or any of that other stuff. But see, we can shut that down. You can have a grand opening and a grand closing and say, we're not going up in there, right? So some of that is on us, but don't you ever forget. See, this is the problem that I don't know where you from, but a lot of people who come over here, you forget. See, that's why I keep this picture behind me. That's Madam C.J. Walker. She was attributed to having one of the first MLMs. You look all at a multi-level marketing, right? She got her people from washing white folks' drawers and driving Miss Daisy around and a whole host of other things. And I know that y'all don't understand or learn these things, but our people built black towns, okay? Black towns. And anybody that's come over here, I argue with you and your mom, okay? Did not have the set of circumstances that black American, especially our ancestors, had, right? Madam C.J. Walker was the daughter of a slave. Our folks that built these towns, we had 1,200 of them, they say at the time. Our folks came off the plantation and we built things. Of course, the people that come over here, y'all don't have an enemy we had. And then what y'all have done is come over here and take a little bitty part from white supremacy, and y'all try to apply that to black Americans who everybody eats off of, whether it's culturally speaking, whether it's our ancestors' feet in the street, making sure that y'all get civil rights. But then let's flip it around. Okay, let's flip it around. When you hear somebody like Trump saying, oh, I'm getting rid of the birthright citizenship. He said it the other day. That was for the babies of slaves. Then a lot of people crash out. Oh, what about us? And listen, I love my brothers and sisters from Haiti, the continent. I'm not in the weeds like that with everybody else. However, you come over here, not all of y'all. Some of y'all come over here and thumb your nose at black Americans, but when it's time to go, you want to know where your brothers and sisters is at. It's like, wow, y'all kick us in the teeth, kick us in the ass. Y'all talk crazy about us when you ain't working hard and all this other stuff. But it's like, who worked hard so you could get what you got? So I agree. Black Americans got to work hard. We got to start working hard for ourselves and stop looking out for everybody else first. We were told that do not do anything for anybody else until we get our foundation set. So you're welcome. But the other thing is this too. Stop wondering where Black Americans are at. I don't care if you're Latino, if you're from the continent, you're from South America, wherever you're from. Stop wondering where we at. Because y'all continuously disrespecting us. Even though y'all going out the door, y'all disrespectful. A lot of y'all are really mad that Black Americans are citizens and we can't be deported. Y'all hate us for that. And it's like, why? We're not the triple OG oppressor. We all got the same oppressor, but see, they played a trick on y'all. They told y'all better than them lazy Americans without giving you the full context of what they did to our people, and they're still doing to our people. And now that they doing it to you, I saw a guy, and I felt bad for him. I saw a Haitian man, he fell out. He fell out after they clicked that thing on his ankle. He fell out. I felt bad for him. But I thought, wow, if only y'all would have got together, stop being greasy in your mouth on these podcasts and all this other stuff about Black Americans, we might have said, hey, you know what? Let's see what we can do. But see, we waking up. That's why I said Trump is making Black America great again. Because had Kamala or anybody else been in office, we would have continued on with that. Oh, we got to help everybody else. Let's look out for everybody else. But Trump is making us realize, oh, everybody else ain't looking out for us. We got to look out for us. So don't you ever forget how y'all got it easier over here. It's because of us. But we going to stop doing that.
Yes, I want you guys to remember, when you have the illegal immigrants that come here, it isn't the ones that are of age that you got to worry about. It's the ones, what are they going to be doing while they're here? That's why birthright citizenship is so important. They said 350,000 Haitians were under TPS, right? 350,000 Haitians and Syrians under TPS, right? Do you guys realize that those people had 390,000 birthright citizenship babies? So these people come here to make more competition for your kids and your grandkids. It isn't the ones that initially get here. It's the fact of the matter is they have babies while they're here. And those babies are dedicated to their home country. They're not dedicated to what they know here in the United States.
Absolutely, Arnie, but you better tell them, okay? There's a reason why people didn't mess with Iran. But, Trump let them put a key in his back, and he went over there thinking they was going to tap out. They was like, man, we've been waiting for y'all since 2001. We saw what y'all did to Saddam Hussein. We saw what you did to everybody else. We saw what you did to, Gaddafi and everybody else. So we waited. We waited and we prepared. We made sure that when to go down, because we knew it wasn't if, it was when y'all was going to come messing with us. But now that you did, we'll be your huckleberry, right? So yes, I agree with you. Iran is divinely protected. And as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, if you go mess with them, he said this in 2017, America would never be the same. And here we are. See, they don't know how to get out of it, because every time Trump talking about, oh, we came with a deal, Iran is like, you would lie. We ain't making no deal with you. We're not.
Movie quote. Could you please give us that movie quote, please?
That is from Tombstone, okay? Doc Holliday by Val Kilmer said, I'll be your huckleberry, okay? That means that if you want to get froggy, we can leave. That's what that meant. And so Iran has just been, they've been saying, here we go. Because we got to remember, a lot of them be like, if Allah calls us home, well, we just go home, but you coming with us. And hello there.
We call that here in America a double Muslim. They can't wait to see Allah and want to take you with them.
Yes. Makiba, how you doing? It says, Black First, salute family. I'm glad I can grow my own vegetables and not wait on the store. Yeah, I mean, if you follow what's going on with the vegetables and stuff here in America, it's like, just a whole host of things. It's like, what can you eat? So yes, you are on the right track. Shan, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. So they still want us to be voting for the same old BS. So why should we vote for those people who don't understand our issues? They understand our issues. They understand that we don't care. We're going to vote blue no matter who. We're going to vote blue to our own demise. They know that, right? They know they could get the same old parrots up there to tell us to vote for the Democrats, and most of us to do it because they're trying to scare us with Trump and this, that, and the other. Like I said, why y'all run around here scared of Trump? Black folks have been through worse. Okay, worse, like the plantation and all the other things. We've been through worse, but they telling you Trump, Trump, Trump. But as Donovan said, a lot of y'all said, they're not telling you what they're going to do to help you. They're not going to say this is the antidote to Trump. All they're saying is, watch this, Trump. And people freak out. I mean, is he doing some things that, yeah, he's doing it like, but again, he's not doing anything that Obama didn't do. Okay, if you're talking about the deportation thing like that, they called the Obama the porter in chief. He had kids in the cages. That's what it came from. The term "kids in the cages" came from him. There was people who died in ICE custody under the Obama administration. Why don't they tell you about that? I'm not saying any of it is right. I'm not saying that should be going on, but Trump is not doing. He's just a little bit more bold with it, right? Like out in the open. He just doesn't care. He's unapologetic about it. But the rest of them was like, well, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to pretend, hey, even like right now, Obama, he done marched out in a tan suit that was iconic. Why in the hell is this tan suit iconic? Well, white folks made it iconic, right? The racists, oh my God, look at him. And so he's distracting everybody. Well, this tan suit was iconic. I saw him the other day. He had it on and was talking about it. I'm like, and that's what black folks thought was Obama did the best. The tan suit. It's crazy.
And speaking of Obama, he used the same exact person to head up the deportations. Am I correct?
Yes, Tom Homan. Tom Homan now is the border czar. That's his official term. He's the border czar. He was also under the Obama administration. If I'm not mistaken, Obama gave him a Medal of Honor.
Medal of Freedom. Medal of Freedom.
Yep. Yeah. So what are we doing? Why
But
is it okay with it?
But do you guys see my point with what we're trying to tell you guys? It's just a different face. They do the same policies. It's the same exact things. It's the same exact thing, just a different face. Oh, Trump. Okay, yeah, we get it. What are you going to do different? What are you going to do for me? Oh, if you're going to be letting these illegals in for Donovan, can't vote for you. Nothing I can do for you. So that's what we've got to start focusing on. You got your Roland Martin. Wait. I got to speak on that. You notice that when white supremacy is done with their tools, they break them. A few weeks ago, Roland Martin was talking about sitting on the couch, but eat is a strategy. Then just last night, I think he got the message when they got that stuff on, they dropped those things on him. He's back to, we got to vote Democrat no matter what. Do you guys see how this works? You guys see it, but do they see how this works? And people got to wake up. Because again, politics now has been reduced to nothing but people enriching themselves. Buckhorse is right there in D.C., right there in Baltimore. The mayor of Baltimore's wife was caught in an NGO giving taxpayer money, and the first thing that this mayor says when asked about it is racism. Your wife got tax-funded money that she shouldn't have gotten. What is your statement on this? Oh, it's racism. So we got to wake up, you guys. It's no more what's best for the black community. It's what's best for your family. And what's best for your family and what's best for Demetrius' family and what's best in my family will be better for the community as a whole.
Absolutely. And Quan, what's going on with you? Says I'm calling on all the new black media to get on cold together to organize a date and time for mass protests in Mississippi, America, that FBA is done with the and a genocide of our people. Yes, unfortunately, Quan, I can't really just talk about that on here because one time that I did, they completely shut me down. So I don't know why they won't let us do it. I just can't. But I am paying attention to what's going on. They found a black woman Monday, but I saw that they arrested it looked like he black, okay? A black man. They say he's a person of interest in her particular case. So I don't know. Of course, we know that Mississippi does have some issues with their medical examinations and things like that. And, Mississippi has a history of doing those things to us. So I am paying attention. As far as with Nolan Wells, I'm purposely not talking about that. And I'm doing it really out of respect for the family because there is so much information out there. And I'm not involved in the investigation or anything like that. I just don't want to be some of those people who are doing it for clicks and views. Because if there's too much information out there, then how do we weed through the truth? And it just gets kind of convoluted. But trust and believe, Brother Quan, I am paying attention. Believe you me, I am paying attention. And as soon as I feel like it's an opportunity for me to talk about it, whether it doesn't look vulturistic, if you will, then I will. Because I just think about certain things. I would, if that was me, God forbid, I wouldn't want everybody dogpiling with the information because a lot of people are just doing it for clicks and views. So I want to show his family respect because we need to get to the bottom of what happened to Nolan Wells. Because when that happens, I know we're going to get to the bottom of what happened to a lot of people. It's a system that's been protecting itself for a very long time.
Yes, and that also brings up again, you see these mass things that are happening to individual black people around the country, going back to Jim Crow, things that were happening after the Civil War and during Jim Crow, and yet not one black legislator has opened an investigation, has done anything to highlight what is happening in these different. Come on, Demetra, Lancaster, California, they found a person. Lancaster, California, that's the desert, nowhere, Edwards Air Force Base, almost Area 51 Part 2 out there. And yet not one black legislator even mentioned things like this happening. This is what we're talking about vetting these candidates. And yet Maxine Waters will sit in office for 30, 40 years without question. Jim Clyburn, 30, 40 years without question. And yet all these things are happening. That's why it's one and done. If they're not doing our work, it's one and done.
Yeah, Lancaster, California. My daddy lived there in Lancaster, so I'm very familiar with Lancaster. Hey, Bernard, how you doing? It says FBI needed in Mississippi. They are in Mississippi, but the only thing about the FBI, it's under the Trump administration. So good luck with that. And Miss Ruby, how you doing?
It could be Mississippi burning again. Gene Hackman will be out there.
What's the one with Samuel Jackson? That's the one we are trying to time to.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Norris, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Miss Ruby, what's going on? Says I care less. These are citizens of other nations. They care less under Obama and Biden, Harris, when they got all the resources to push our people into homelessness. They didn't give a damn. No, I totally agree with you. But they they had help with doing that. We helped them do it. At the end of the day, like I said, we can bang on everybody else, who right on everybody else. But black Americans, we got to take that one on the chin. We vote for the Democrats more than anybody. And so we see the Democrats and what they do, but then we cry when they go do it. But it's like they can't. Why do you think they chase after the black vote the way they do? Not you, Miss Ruby. I'm just saying in general. Let's think about it. Why do we but know that they chase after the black vote the way they do? Because they still need black folks to show up to vote. So they, call me, gotta vote this, that, and the other. So what do? I'm not gonna vote for no Republican or whatever. So you go vote, and then they say, thank you, suckers. Now we're gonna go help the illegal immigrants. We're gonna go help everybody else and give money to this and give money to that. Yes, we know that you're the most homeless population here in the United States of America. Yes, we know that you're the most incarcerated. As Joe Biden said, I am the author of every major and minor crime bill since 1976. We know all of that, right? But we also know that you're going to show up to vote for us. So why do we need to change your condition? As it says in the Quran, Allah will not change the condition of the people until the people change, okay? So until you change, your condition is going to be the same. So you cannot continue to say, well, the immigrants are doing this. And as I say, think about it, it's common sense. If you heard of a place far, far away where you can get housing, get money, you can get food, you can thumb your noses at the triple OGs, of America, black Americans, and you can get it all, brand new socks and drawers. Wouldn't you go? Wouldn't you risk life and limb? You going through? You guys know about the Darien Gap? That is a very dangerous route to cut through. The Darien, a lot of people don't make it through that. But if you heard there was a place and there was a party that would say, hey, come over here. All you got to do is make it to the border. We're going to give you a phone. And on this phone, there's an app that's going to tell you everything to do. Wouldn't you go? And then you heard, oh, well, how did this party get into office? The Black Americans, they vote for the Democrats depending on what it is, to the tune of 98% if it's Obama, right? 80 to 90% of the black vote goes to the Democratic Party, and they know, and they say, listen, just think about this. And that particular person says, and they vote for the Democrats, and the Democrats, that's the party that do anything for them, and they still vote for them? They know that they're going to do everything for us? Wow. Oh, well, they're rather stupid. So yeah, as my mama would say, the old people would say back in the day, you see a fool, bump his head, right? That basically, they want to be a fool. We gonna bump their head. We gonna use them to get what we need, and then we get up here and we own all these other things. Yeah, we'll look down on y'all. And now they know, wait, hold on. This is the rub. It gets worse. Then, when we get over there, we get a stronghold in the community. We'll vote somebody in office that looks like us, which is how you got, in the Somali community, right? That, of course,
New Orleans is a prime example.
Everywhere at this point. Los Angeles, okay? You had a whole city council who hated black folks, and they got caught talking crazy about black folks. This is not nothing new. But how do they get in there? We vote for that because we think if we vote hard enough, long enough, wait, hold on, Don, before I give it to you, because I know somebody gonna think I'm lying, okay? This is what black votes get. Hold on 1 second. I got something for you, okay? Because you ain't gonna prove me to be no lie. Hold on 1 second. Let me find it. Y'all know what I'm looking for. Hold on. Here you go.
We also need offensive actions around prosecutions. We need real accountability because at the end of the day, the people that have been inflicting this harm need to be prosecuted. They need to be brought before us and they need to be held account for the trauma that they have created, and we are going to have some form of reparation.
Excuse me, what? What? Reparations for black Americans? Oh, hell no. She talking about reparations for illegal immigrants. But guess what? Permelia Jayapal, right? She's a Democrat. And you saw the other lady, she's a Democrat. She was shaking her head. She didn't get in office without the black vote. She get a lot of black votes. Look it up in her district in Washington State.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, she just won her primary.
Well, so there you go. She gets back in office. She told y'all what she was going to do, but some of you silly black folks gonna vote for her and all her homies to get in office. She says, when we get back in office, we need to, in the longer version, right, we're going to have to punish Trump and ICE, and we're going to have to find a way to fund reparations for illegal immigrants that have been harmed by ICE and Trump, and you will go vote for that. Like, that run me up a wall, for real. Let me calm down, okay? So when we talk about illegal immigrants, I'm not mad at illegal immigrants. All the things I just said, if you heard all that was going on, let me find out there's a place where there's milk and honey and people gonna help me get it. I'm going there too. Mr. South Carolina.
Well, there is a place. It's called the Dominican Republic. I go there 3-4 times a year.
Along with that milk and honey, you're gonna need some penicillin.
And I do stop over in Panama too, so that's another place.
For extra strength, penicillin. Mr. South Carolina, how you doing? Says, good evening, Miss K. Egypt built $1 billion grand museum. Trump wants U.S. taxpayers, I think he's saying, to fund $1 billion for him to compensate. All right, J6ers and ballroom. If this is in the land of abomination paradise, you tell me, yeah. And even a lot of Republicans is like, no, dude. We're not funding that, Kay. We're not. Because he said when he was building the ballroom, it's all donations. And now he done finagled it because, somebody, which I think was staged, if you ask me, ran up at the press dinner, whatever it was, and, tried to take him out allegedly. And so now he's using that as a justification. Well, now the taxpayers, they need to fund the ballroom because it's got to have this and that. It's got to have a dome and all this other stuff, protection in case I'm in there, like Watusian with Melania. And they're like, no, we're not doing that. In fact, y'all heard about his pool that was allegedly gashed up by some Olympian, and he got charged and all sort of stuff. A federal judge was like, man, knock it off. We're not bringing up charges. That he didn't do that, okay? But Trump is vehement that this former Olympian did that, and they're like, stop it.
And then you think of all his legal protections and stuff like that. This man negotiated with the federal government that they cannot look into his taxes moving forward, and all kinds. I didn't read the whole thing, but they can't look into his taxes, and that what was done to him, because let's be real, they did use lawfare against him. That's true. They did use that. But here's a public servant who negotiated with the government. Because sometimes, how many of us have been accused and are sitting in jail right now, falsely accused, and the government just, when you finally get out, the government just says, oops. But this is what we're trying to tell you guys. These people take care of each other. He's going to get compensated for all the money he spent in attorneys and all those fees. Some way, somehow, he negotiated all of that to where, he's almost an untouchable now.
Oh, he could be touched, okay? Maybe this not by a man, but yeah, ain't nobody untouchable. Mr. 100 all day, how you doing? Says these folks acting like injustice wannabe gods. There are no more good guys anymore from both sides. They're just regimes. I totally agree with you. You're not getting argument from me. Let's see. Somebody said something. I don't remember what it was. Oh, facts not feelings. It says, listen, brother, me and you agree. I'm not who riding on no black folks. I don't care if they Haitians, they Africans. I'm not doing that, right? Because while some of them, they got a lot of foolishness to say, they ain't the only ones, right? I always said if anybody should be here, it should be the Haitians, because of the destabilization that the United States have done to Haiti for a long time, still doing, right? So I'm just not one of those people. Like I said, I get delineation, but I'm not about to be who banging on nobody. I'm sorry. Okay, I'd rather spend my energy talking to us as Black Americans, how we get it out the mud. Because at the end of the day, I agree, Haitians aren't our issue. They're not necessarily taking anything from us, and their lease in population, their TPS status just ended, okay, along with 13 other potential countries. But there's a lot of other people over here. You go to somewhere like Los Angeles, California, they setting up vending shops and tables and stuff in the middle of the damn street. Not the sidewalk anymore, on the street. They got tents, illegal immigrants. They got tents and they selling all kind of stuff in the street. Where cars drive down the street.
And Karen Bass says it's absolutely correct. And notice, nobody talks about the millions of Chinese people that cross the southern border. Nobody talks about the Asians and what they're doing. Nobody talks about that.
But that's what I'm saying. So that's why I said, for me, I try to be careful. It's not to, ride down on black folks. Can I be honest with y'all? Hey, Salani, how you doing? The problem with some of the black folks that come from other parts of the world is they just be talking spicy, right? They ain't got no real power. Ain't no Africans setting up shop in our communities. No Haitians doing that and, beating up Black American. They not doing that. If they are, I ain't heard about it, right? I don't want to say never. I don't want to deal in absolutes, but we don't hear that from them. Are they disrespectful? Yeah, some of them are disrespectful. But are they as problematic as some of the other groups of people? No. So I'm saying sometimes we got to really check our emotions. And I'm just going to say this. I know people ain't going to like it. But just like people from all over the world come over here and punch down on Black Americans, we punch down on ourselves and other people too. We got to stop doing that. Because like I said, at the end of the day, you have a lot of Asians, Arabs, Indians, Latinos, everybody set up in our community and show the utmost disrespect. They got hate crime bills and all kind of things. And yet we won't stay our asses up out of their stores. But we want to who ride on Haitians. Trump, we can't tell Trump not to do it. We didn't tell Trump to do it, right? So that has nothing to do with us. As I said, I don't care if anybody likes it. I don't like seeing black folks in shackles. I don't like seeing it. Right? But I get it. Temporary is temporary. Salani says voting ain't never got black people nowhere since 1965. Hell, longer than that, right? We are in worse condition as a people. God never said he would send a politician to save and oppress people. We need to truly unite doing for ourselves and believing that the white man is the devil. Whew. Yeah. Voting has not. Right. Thank you, Buck Horse. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's an anti-black hate crime bill now. Yeah, but again, we gonna vote for that. We're gonna vote for everybody else to get a hate crime bill but us, and then we'll cry about it. That's the problem that I have with it. Like I said, I get it. Everybody else, okay, they this, that, and the other, but what about the stuff we doing or not doing? The other people can't vote. We're voting for that. And then we cry. It's like I said, sticking a fork in a socket after you've been told not to do it and you're doing it. Ah, that hurt. Well, didn't I tell you that? As my daddy would say, may Allah be pleased with him. No. Didn't I tell you? That's when you was going to get it if my daddy stuttered, okay? Didn't I tell you not to stick your hand, that in the socket? Yes. Well, then you the fool, okay? You knew better. We know better, but we keep doing it.
Wait a minute, though. That thing about that they're not voting, we don't know that for a fact because it has been proven that they are voting in these elections.
Well, I did some research. And so it's not a large scale issue. It's just not, they've done it here and there, but nothing. It's, I think it's like a less than 1%. Okay.
Yeah, because like recently they've been talking about the Haitians that voted for Trump. I'm like, there isn't enough legal Haitians in the United States to make the difference in an election if they did vote for Trump.
Exactly. Thank you once again, Buckhorse. Love it. Appreciate you for that. Says Nolan Wares. We on the way. We on the way. That's what I'm saying. I'm paying attention. I have not forgotten about Nolan Wells, Carmelo Anthony, and all the countless other people who have suffered with the injustice of the United States of America, right? All the stuff is just really exposure at this point. These systems are being exposed. And Mississippi, you know, they're taking forever with the autopsy report. Why? The independent one came back weeks ago. What's taking y'all so long? And why y'all didn't send their babies, you know, a body intact? What's going on there? See, because you know, I don't want to get into it. I see they're suing. They're suing a whole lot of people. It's like, if you don't stop, but they being them people in Mississippi. Yes, one who cares says she is not for us. Brother Damon says she gives 2 F's about FBA. Yeah, Jay and Paul, but they gonna vote her right back in office. You watch, just watch.
Yeah, she just won her primary with 70% of the vote. Now she represents part of Detroit. So let's be real here. That means I'm very sure black folks voted for her.
Yeah. And Rich, no, that's part of it. That's not why. I've already said, even before this lawsuit or whatever they got came out, I said that before. I'm on record saying that I purposely don't want to talk about that because it's just too much. I'm not there. I don't know what's going on. A lot of people who are talking about, he says, I guess the real reason y'all don't want to talk about Nolan Wells situation is because allegedly the suspects threatened to sue content creators for defamation on them. But I get it. And you know what? I'm going to be real with you. I don't agree with them people in Mississippi, but I think there is some defamation going on there, which is why you have to be careful. Because a lot of times people fire this thing up, right? Social media, they get the bump in their gums and they end up saying things that are wrong. As people who get sued, you should get sued if you lie on people, right? Now, I don't know who's lying, who are this, that, and the other. But what I'm saying is, for me, I just put myself in that situation, and God forbid that was my loved one. I wouldn't want a whole bunch of people just bumping their gums and they don't know. Like Brandon Tatum, the one that's sticking up for them, he going down there. Well, I believe him because they told me. It's like, shut up. You know what I mean? So I'm choosing. I'm making a conscious decision not to do that. That's all. But yeah, I did hear about that. Matter of fact, I heard about that yesterday. So yeah. And thank you, Philip. Let's see who else is here. Diane, did I say hi to you? If not, hello. Let's see. Facts and Philip says, I know, Demetri, you and I see eye to eye. You know I'm crushing on you. Well, thank you. Avenge the Ancestors, how you doing? I hope that you're doing well. Long time no see. You've probably been busy. 5 Range, you say, fact, some parts of Los Angeles look like a third world country. It's like, you know, I have friends out there and they send me stuff. I'm gonna be talking about some stuff next week, but I'm like, my God, it's crazy. Like they are in the street. If you wanted to drive down that lane, you couldn't. Like, seriously. And nobody's gonna check them. But let you be black outside in Los Angeles and breathe an extra breath that you ain't supposed to breathe, the po-po gonna come roll you up. But you know, and the po-po look like a lot of the illegal immigrants out there, right? So they don't mess with their people. But black folks catching hell left and right. And I believe I'm gonna have Brother Billion on here on Tuesday. We're gonna have a conversation about some things that are going on in LA. It's crazy. I'm telling you, it's wild.
And what's crazy is you've got black representatives that are right there, ain't saying a freaking word.
Yeah. Ali says, Johnny Carrington was ejected for hard fouling Sophie Cunningham. She called it white privilege. Yeah, I saw that at WNBA. They got a lot of foolishness going on there. It's like, can't people just play sports? Like, what are we doing? You know.
Well, the problem with the WNBA, and I'm just going to be real quick because I'm Demetri, you know, I was a big LA Sparks ticket holder and all that great stuff, trying to support the sisters, but the product is trash. The whole thing is trash. But these women, everything's a soap opera. You know, you could kind of see there's always some type of drama going on in these organizations rather than just playing the sport and keeping your private life private. So I'm not surprised at this. It's just sad that And now they got these trans basketball players about to come in there. That's going to be a story within itself. So here we go. So all you woke liberal folks, this is, hey, you trans men in sports, this is what you want. Here it comes. Juana Man in real life. And guess what? If it is going to be Juana Man, I'm Smokey Smoke. I'm going to be that guy. That one Tommy Davidson played in the movie.
I've seen all that. I'm like, boy, I tell you what, I'm so glad that I'm doing my best, y'all, to touch grass. Like I'm divorcing myself from my phone as much as I can because there's just a lot of foolishness out there. It really is. And I did see that. Royce White, I think his name is, one of them, and somebody else, they talking about they going to be putting on some wigs and trying out for the WNBA. I'm like, what the hell?
They are going to be the greatest players ever. You're talking about a 300-point game. One guy.
Horrible. African Native, how you doing? Thank you so much for that donation. Love it. Appreciate you for that. Where have you been? Well, thank you so much. It is much appreciated. Yes, Sylvia. They to me they look like shackles. The Haitians, they're wearing the ankle monitors. So it's either you get deported or detained, or you wear the ankle monitor so they know where you are. And I'm sorry, I just they ain't do that.
Yeah, they have a choice. Like I said, if you respect the law, you would leave.
You know what? I'm sorry. I just, like I said, I'm a lot of things, good things. But one thing I'm never going to do is champion seeing black folks run around with, to me, they look like shackles. It's very degrading, and that's being done by design. They have not, that I know of, offered that to a whole group of people like that, like, I get it. I think we should be humane in the way we think, and want for others or whatever. I know it's not all Haitians do that. Okay, let's keep it real. Okay, but I do not like seeing that. As for anybody to champion that and think that's okay, I question your moral compass. I really do, because there's a lot of things that listen. If the TPS status is over, just go about the business of that. But saying, well, get deported, or we're going to put these things on you, that is horrible. That is horrible. It is.
Well, the thing is, it's not only they put the thing on them until they get the paperwork and everything going to deport them when they're going to come get them. So, again, I disagree with you in the fact, because they have a choice. If you respect, you got to respect our laws. If you go to Haiti and they have a very low functioning government there, but there is a government functioning there, because don't listen to what the liberal media tries to tell you, that it's all messed up. Only the capital city is being controlled both by mostly the gangs and all that other stuff. That's the Port-au-Prince. The other parts of the city, that isn't necessarily the case. But the point is, I have a Haitian friend. He's talking about he always told me 1804, and all the BS he keeps trying to talk, right? Long story short, if Haitians are so great with this 1804 and this warrior commitment, show us. Why would you let them strap a thing on your whatever shackle, whatever, on your foot, rather than respect our country and go over there and go make your country great and take care of the gangs and do what you got to do? If you go over to their country and you do not respect the law, you won't last long there. Isn't that strange? And it's always, see, the thing about Americans, most Americans don't travel. We don't travel. So we don't know how it is. But when you go to other countries and especially these Latin countries, and you disrespect their laws and you disrespect their customs, they will cut your head off. Figuratively and sometimes literally, they will cut your head off. But they come over here and disrespect our laws. Oh, Haiti's so great. Haiti's this. That's great. I'm all for it. Have pride in wherever you're from. It's time to go. Respect our laws. And I can't feel sorry for you when you have a choice. If I was in that situation, Demetra, I'm talking for me, you ain't strapping no thing. You know what? I'm going to go home and make my country great. You ain't going to make me look like no slave walking around here looking, embarrassed and all that other stuff. I have pride in my culture and in my people. So I disagree with you on that, but it is what it is.
Well, I'm glad that you disagree with me on that, but I think that's what happens when we need a little bit more information. See, it's easy to say, I study stuff. I like to do that. And I know you two do, Donovan, but I'm saying as far as this, see, a lot of people think, oh, I'm taking up for the Haitian. I don't care if you think I'm taking up for the Haitian. I'm not trying to convince anybody. What I'm doing is putting the information out there. So to say that, oh, if I was a Haitian, I would, instead of getting a shackle or a monitor, I would leave. But if everybody want to gloss over, yes, they got TPS status. Okay, it's been renewed 12 to 18 times, depending on whether it was this it's the Syrians, and whoever else, right? So depending on who you talk about, okay? We know the Haitians got TPS status due to the earthquake and some of the destabilization of the government. Yes, it's not all of Haiti, right? So that they were allowed to have temporary protected status, they could not become permanent citizens unless certain things like a job sponsored them, they got married or something along those lines, which is still, the requirements to do it is still kind of tough. But so then people are negating to say that while the government from the Obama administration gave them temporary status, you also allowed them to get a social security card, a driver's license things, and open up businesses and buy houses. So when you say, let's just put all the information out there, because what I hate, and not Donovan, I'm not even talking to you per se. I'm just talking to all the people I see. What I hate is when people have surface conversations like, nah, dig deep. You talk about I will go home instead of wearing a monitor, but you don't talk about the government who allowed them to buy this stuff and then say, get out. So let's put all that in consideration. You telling these people to get out. You allow me to buy a house and a business, but now you want me to leave all that behind, but you allow me to do that. So at what point do we take the government to task, whether it's Obama, whether it's Bush, whether it's, Biden, whoever, okay? And even before it in the Nixon administration, some of this stuff was going on, okay, with the So at what point do we take them to task? See, it's too easy. That's why I talk about punching down. It's punching down on a whole group of people, whether you agree with them or not. Take how you feel about a podcast that you saw or something like that. I'm talking about the facts. I'm talking about what we know. How is it that you were mad or more mad at a group of people who were allowed to come over here and do all those things, and then another administration and keep it real? The Biden administration ain't no better than Trump. That's the problem that I have with this conversation as well. The Biden administration, when the Haitians converged on the Texas southern border, they lassoed them up and got them out of here and said, Biden said, look it up, we can't afford to keep them here. So not a Democrat or nobody did anything to protect them. But again, they were allowed to do all these things. And then people out their mouth without thinking about context say, you need to get out. I wouldn't have them. Yes, you would. If you thought that somebody was going to fight for you to keep your house and your business and all the things that you were allowed, okay, let's keep it real. And temporary protected status did not mean they were here illegally. So you would not just leave all of the things that you were allowed. I'm saying allowed because I want to stress that you were allowed to build. It's too it's too uninformed, if you will, to say I would just leave. No, you wouldn't. You would strap 2 of those mugs on my ankles if it means that somebody gonna fight for me to keep what I was allowed to build.
Right, that's why they were given time, and they've been given time to make arrangements with any loved ones, whatever. But let's forget all that. The fact of the matter is, as black people, we know how the white man in this country operates. See, the problem with these colonial mindset people, they deal with a different type of whitey, right? The American white man is a totally different animal. I don't know where you would go and somebody tells you temporary and you are going to go and buy houses and businesses. And I understand everything you said. I agree. They'll let you do that. But if I was a banker, just like the 2008 predatory loan situation with our own citizens, they allowed a woman who worked at Taco Bell that didn't have the income to buy a $450,000 house that they know she couldn't afford with the balloon payment on the one end or whatever the deal is. They let them buy it, let her pay for it a little while, they make a little money off it, and then they repossess the home. Again, I don't know anybody that will come here, not a citizen, under humanitarian conditions, that will set up like they're going to live here forever. And like I said, everybody makes their choices. But we know how the white man gets down here, and I know for a fact when they come here, they come into our neighborhoods, and we try to tell these people how to move in this country. And of course, What's that saying? Fat meat ain't greasy to them, or whatever the situation is. And it is what it is. Temporary means that. There's no way I'm going to go to a country temporarily knowing eventually I'm going to have to go back and make a whole life in a country that I'm there temporarily. So what I'm saying is this, and a lot of people will agree with me, a lot of people will not agree with me. You knew the job was dangerous when you took it, Fred, because this white man does not play. He has never played. He plays these games. Again, as a black citizen, well, you vote for the Democrats, we're going to do this. If you vote and give me the Senate, I'm going to give you a George Floyd bill. I'm going to give you a John Lewis bill. This white man is so damn treacherous, we can't even get shit done right when we need to get done. So what the hell makes them think that the white man's going to be upstanding with them?
See, I'm kind of cool myself down because I'm very passionate about this. Again, not that I'm defending that. What I'm defending is common sense. And I don't think we really rocking on all cylinders. And this is one thing that I really try to do as far as our people are concerned, like, wake up. We don't never had this much smoke. This is why when black folks is talking about boycotting the Africans, oh, we boys, shut up. Y'all boycott everybody but the people who really kicking your tailbone in. Don't get your hair braided, okay? I went to the Africans a couple times. You know why I'm boycotting them? Because I didn't want them to continue to snatch my damn edges out because they're a little too heavy-handed. So I stopped going, right? But I get it. The disrespect, just don't go. But y'all really want to have a full-throated organization boycotting on the Africans when the Arabs, the Asians, the Indians, Latinos, white folks kicking your ass every day. But y'all somehow, when I say y'all, I mean us as black Americans, we don't, yeah, we don't organize. Y'all got so much stuff. I'm trying not to cuss, okay? Y'all got so much venom for Haitians, but you ain't got none for the white man. You got the same. And I know they need to learn that lesson too. I'm not oblivious of that. They got to learn that, but we say it with our chest when it comes to other black folks, because again, that's the punch down mentality. That's the stuff we getting from the plantation that's been taught to us. Punch down on other black folks. You know what? There's a lot of other people who can go before the Haitians go, right? But we got so much. Well, they knew all this, honey. They knew all this. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff we know, but we continue to do the stuff. But we don't have that kind of smoke for our own people and the foolishness that we got going on in our communities all day long. But we got so much stuff to say about everybody. So I say, shut up. Right? I mean that respectfully. If you took it disrespectfully, I don't care. Okay? We got so much stuff to say about everybody else, but we give all our money away. We give all our voting power away, and then we want to sit up and have a bald head gum nerve to talk about what somebody else is doing and good for them. And Miss Ruby, he says, our people have shackles. I respect your position, but also respect ours. They know temporary means just that. I think it's okay, and I question the moral compass of those who watch their own suffer, including black Americans. We watch our own people suffer every day right now. You know, I got a brother, I ain't gonna tell you his name. He emails me probably 5 to 6 times a week about the shenanigans, and I say that lightly, that's going on in Chicago and all the other places. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talked about that in 2017 at Favors Day. He says every Saturday, or it was actually longer than that. It's every Saturday night, there's a shoot 'em up, and I'm paraphrasing, in our community. But we got some shit to say, excuse my French, about what Haitians are doing, and we getting the black life taken every goddamn minute of the day, and we don't organize. I see, if we take that kind of power into our communities where somebody is losing their life, whether it's going 6 feet deep or they're being locked up for the rest of their life, if we took that energy there, then we'd be better off. But y'all, I'm telling y'all, I'm really trying to restrain myself because it just runs me up a wall. The energy that we have, and we don't have that. I mean, what's wrong with us? Like, honestly. And I'm black American, because I know somebody gonna probably say, oh, she is. I'm a black American. Okay, my family go back to the Gap. Okay, to the 1700s. That's as far as I track my people back so far. So don't come for me with that. But what I'm saying is, if you really love black Americans, then you talk about black Americans and the stuff that we need to do. Because at the end of the day, ain't nobody telling us to give all that money away. Ain't nobody making you go vote for no Democrat. Ain't nobody making you do the stuff. Ain't nobody telling you whatever it is. Some of y'all don't parent your children and they run around the neighborhood taking lives. Grandmamas and grandpapas can't walk outside. Ain't nobody telling us to do that. Do we have a condition that was put upon our people? Yes, but we can't talk about how we built this and that and the other, and we can't solve the issues close to home, right? So I hear what y'all saying, but the Haitians are not your issue. The Mexicans ain't your issue. Now, are there issues that come from that? Yes. But how you gonna talk about them and not talk about how you vote so they can get over here and do that stuff to you? How?
Period.
I mean, I'm just saying it comes to a point. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I always tell y'all this, okay? When I started out doing this, I didn't care about being popular. I've never cared about being popular nowhere, ever. Never. I don't care about being popular. What I care about is telling the truth, because sitting up here bloviating, lying, stroking the egos of our people, and we are dope and dynamic people. Don't get it twisted, okay? We are the greatest people walking the earth, but we can be greater. That's why I said in the beginning, so we can be even better. That's why I put the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can be better. But at some point in time, we got to stop focusing on everybody else and focus on ourselves. I don't want to read the newspaper tomorrow or the brothers, because I know he will text me or email me and say there was some shoot 'em ups this past weekend. Sister K, I need you to talk about that, right? I don't want to read about that no more. Let's put the energy where it counts. We've been told to do this for a very long time, but we won't do it. And it's easy and it's lazy and it's cheap to punch down on a whole group of people while our people are doing the nonsense that we do every day. Like, when are we going to have that conversation and stand 10 toes down on it?
Yeah, we didn't start this to be popular, but I did get you out here to make some money, and we haven't made $1 since we've been doing this stuff. So,
I mean, I'm just
my
saying,
investment, you know.
But listen, Donovan, like I have one, Al. I just, I think people miss that. I think people miss the point of that. The point is, Donovan and I got the gift of gab. We'll keep it real with you. We have to we could be wealthy. I tell you, we could be wealthy. I'm talking about money, houses, cars, right? We can have it all. Brand new socks and drawers every day. That's how talented we are. But we're using our gift to wake our people up. That's what we're called to do. Ain't no money in this. And I don't know, I would venture it's not really supposed to be. It just depends on who you ask. But what I'm saying is, what I'm doing and what I've always done is for the love of Black folks, period. It's not to get up here, because trust me, I've been up since 2-something this morning. Okay, I've been up since 2 o'clock this morning, moving, working, you name it. I have not stopped. Okay. So what I'm saying is, on Sunday, I could be sitting on my ass, watching TV or whatever, but I don't choose to do that. So I'm just telling y'all, this is for the love of Black folks. Nothing more and nothing less. I promise you. Because there's a lot of things I could do to make some money. And my daddy, nor my mama, would want me to do any of that. I'm just saying.
Even that is going down in businesses. I mean, the economy is really bad when the single mother club isn't making any money. There's nobody in the single mothers club.
That's always going to sell, boo. That's always going to be for sale.
It's going to be for sale, but ladies, unfortunately, the market is flooded and ain't going to be for sale for top dollar. That's for damn sure.
That's okay. You just got to work really hard. Sister Sachs, how you doing? Says they were duped, probably believed the temporary was not really temporary. Not if they're allowed to buy houses. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they got all these, renewals, right? Status renewals, upwards of 18 times, right? And they go from, it depends on 6 months to 18 months.
And what's crazy is El Salvador's been here longer than Haitians have.
But why ain't nobody talking about them? Or all the other 13, groups. I know it seems like it's more Haitians, right, than any, but nobody talks about them. It's the punching down on the Haitians. Like the Haitians, it's temporary for everybody.
Yeah, but you want to know why they're singling out Haitians? I mean, come on. See, this is what I hate about us as Black people. We keep forgetting we're Black people. This country is founded on white supremacy. For some reason, we think because we're American, It's our skin. That is why the Haitians are being singled out, because white supremacy rules this country fundamentally and at the bottom of everything. Never forget that. Like I said, I don't like what they're doing to the Haitians, but I do respect the rule of law. So they have a choice, whatever, if that's their choice. But just like I tell my Haitian friends, the way they view whitey being colonial minded is different than the way the white man is here. The white man here is the most treacherous that you will find anywhere on the planet, and that's been proven. 2 major wars, Korea, Vietnam, how we do things. These people used Agent Orange on human beings and dropped an atomic bomb on a bunch of human beings and didn't think twice. And we think because you're Haitian, no, it isn't because you're Haitian, it's because of your dark skin. That's the bottom line. Never forget that. As far as they see, you're black and they're white. That's it. This country operates on the 5 colors. Period. My black people, never forget that. You're going to be singled out because you have black skin first. That's no fact. But that BS about, well, blacks are going to be next, we're going to be deported, that ain't going to happen. We're citizens, it ain't going to happen. Stop with all the foolishness there. But the bottom line is, this white man in the North American continent of America dropped an atomic bomb twice on Asian folks and used herbicides and all kinds of atrocities against these Asian folks in 2 different wars, Korea and Vietnam. And yet these white people come here and they get an anti-Asian crime bill, for them, and set them up and do all this other stuff, and they love whitey so bad. That goes to show you how diabolical this white man is. Never forget that. I don't care if you're African, I don't care if you're Haitian, Caribbean, whatever. Yes, we share the same melanin, but the bottom line is they see you as black, and that is their primary enemy. And my mother told me, you never forget the skin that you're in. You never forget. Doesn't mean you're less. That ain't what my mom was saying. Never forget your enemy. When it comes down to it, they're going to be on their side, and you're going to be on your side.
Yes, Miss Sweetson, how you doing? It says they didn't apply for permanent residency. They can't. It's not something they can do. It's rare circumstances. They have to kind of like be sponsored type of thing, but they can't. That was one of the stipulations, because temporary status was given to them in hopes or with the speculation that whatever they fled from was a temporary situation, right? So like with the earthquake situation in Haiti, that would eventually be fixed. Then, you think about, certain things that took place. It just didn't for whatever reason. So that's why they couldn't get permanent, because the hope was always that they're going to return when things stabilize. The question is, have things stabilized? Like Venezuelans, I think their TPS status will be or have been revoked as well. Well, they just had
Yeah, it was revoked last year. Last year.
Yeah, they had an earthquake and it kidnapped the president. There's a lot of destabilization. Which America, United States, that's what they do. They destabilize governments. So, but yeah, so they couldn't. They couldn't apply.
Well, there is exception, like if they married an American or something like that.
Rare.
Rare. Yeah, it's very rare.
Even the Trump administration has tightened up on those things. Back in the day, you could just take a bunch of pictures and pretend like y'all been together forever and ever and ever. But now it's like, yeah, nah, we got to see a little bit more than that. Dr. Irons, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see, just kind of skipping down. King Shaw, what's going on? It says no reparation, no vote, no black agenda, no votes. Come on now. Just kind of going down. Raj says TPS visitors, violators need to go, but don't single out one group, shackle them all, or don't do it to anyone. Haitians have been mistreated by both Trump and Biden. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I said, I'm just one of those people. I'm not going to wish bad on people. That's why I don't get into a lot of the conversations I see on the internet. I know that other people talk bad about us. I just, they just do, okay? But what I do know is what you wish on other people, you also wish on yourself. I'd rather spend the energy, with us trying to figure out what we need to do. Because as I was telling y'all, sometimes it gets a little on the sad side, because my mom is gone, my dad is gone, and my mom was in the fight for reparations in the 90s. Of course, it's always been a conversation. My mom, she died. She didn't get to realize or see us, even touch reparations. My father just passed in December. And so what happens is when you lose both of your parents, You really start to think about a lot of things. And often, even yesterday, I was thinking about this. I said, man, it's very possible that I could die. I'm 55. I don't plan on going anywhere soon, but I could die and not see Black Americans unified. I could die and not see us, get reparations. I could die and I still see us vote for oppression. I can die and still watch us give 97% of our 2 trillion, some say it's almost $3 spending power away. I could leave this earth and not realize the things that my ancestors have fought for, whether it's my parents, my grandparents, or a lot of people who have gone on. And I think about somebody like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's not going anywhere anytime soon either. But I'm just saying he's been doing this most of his life, and we're starting to see people, talk about it. And you know what the crazy part is with the teachings of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan via that of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is now you see white folks talking about the books that we won't read. They talk about, I kid you not, you can go on any social media, they say Farrakhan was right. You see white people repost, some of the teachings, the videos. They talk about they read some of the books y'all won't read. They've read them, right? You see them talking about it and they agree with them. But there's a lot of our people who just will not wake up, who want to continue to believe that, somewhere some white man is going to fall out the sky or some politician somewhere is going to make life better for us when we have the power to do it. And so, yeah, sometimes I get really sad because I'm like, it's very possible that I will leave here and we won't even be close because I just sometimes, and I know this is going to be kind of negative. I don't always feel this way, but sometimes I do. I just kind of feel like, what's the point? I don't think we care enough. There's some of the things that I see, even something as small as the whole bonnet and house shoe conversation that's going on in some of the universities, Tuskegee University. They banned these things in class, the bonnets and things. And so I see a lot of Black folks talking about this as anti-Black. Oh, it's anti-Black to talk about banning bonnets and things. And so when I think about it, I'm like, well, when did indecency and degradation become Black culture? Why are we owning these things? And then I get sad again because I'm thinking, when did we begin to settle for less as Black folks? I'm old enough to where I remember my grandmother, dressing up. I could just never imagine my mother or my grandmother outside like that. And when somebody is saying we want to bring decency back as far as Black folks are concerned in public spaces, you have some Black folks who want to fight for, I don't care. You can get mad. I don't care. Bonnets outside is indecent. It's a disrespect to the women before us. And men, if you're out there disheveled, it's disrespectful to the men before us who, you got to remember, our people came from them plantations with nothing on their backs, no shoes on their feet. And the minute they could get something, make something, and, feel like they were citizens in society, I'm just talking about aesthetically speaking, they were doing that. They might have had one dress, 2 dresses, but they did not go outside like that. So I'm just using that as an example, sometimes I get very disheartened because I'm like, wow, are we going backwards? What are we doing here? That shouldn't be that hard of a conversation. Yeah, you're right. Let's be decent. Let's go outside. Let's, look like we care. So it's sad. 55 is young in the larger scheme of things, but how long is it going to take for Black folks to get on the same page and focus on us and the things that we need to do? In our community, like I said, I've been talking about life insurance a lot lately. I don't have the ability to sell it or whatever. I used to sell it. But something like that, we are as Black Americans the most insured, but we're the most underinsured. So I get sad when I hear some of our people talk against it. But then on the same hand, when somebody passes away, they want to have a GoFundMe and they expect everybody to get together to help them take care of their responsibilities that they did not want to take care of. So I'm just saying that not to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm just telling you, I do this all day, a lot of, often I would say. And so, see, these are just some of the things that I think about. And it's hard sometimes to stay encouraged because I see a lot of things. I don't talk about all the things that I see because people come to me with all kind of stuff. And I'm like, this all could really be so simple, but we rather march, rather vote. We should vote, but I'm saying the things that we vote for, we rather just make it hard instead of just doing what we are supposed to do. So I don't know. Y'all tell me.
Yeah, in the comment, they were saying something about the TPS for the Europeans. I just put in there, Ukrainian TPS status is good through October 19, 2026. They've been here since 2023. So again, people, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful for anybody, we have smartphones in our hands. If you have a question like that, just Google it, and it'll give you the answer. You know, I mean, hopefully it's the right answer. If you use more than one source, I use more than one source. But yes, Ukrainians, Europeans are under TPS status in their situation and stuff. I know it seems because they're white, oh, you don't hear about it. That's because they're white. So again, you know, use that smartphone. It does help in some situations.
Yeah, again, avenge the ancestors. I'm not saying that some of the stuff that other people's like Haitians and stuff say about. I'm not agreeing with that. Please do not mistake me in that. But what I'm saying is, what's going on with them that has nothing to do with us. We did not put that in motion. We can't stop it, right? But we hear, especially a lot of these politicians that we vote for, they are talking about all the horrible, but they're not fighting that hard for the Haitians. They not. Let's keep it real. Do you see any of these Democrats fighting that hard for the Haitians? But when they do, they want to, include us in that conversation. And it's like, well, y'all neglect Black Americans all day long. What does it look like that we would fight for somebody else? Again, I'm not saying this from a hateful point of view. So I'm not saying that some of the things that they're saying, it's not all of them, right? Just like, for whatever, it's not all of them. But I'm not agreeing with those things. But what I'm saying is I think it's a waste of energy to, but our own backyard looks like hell. That's all I'm saying. So I just want to be clear about that. Arthur, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Fancy Tiger, what's going on? Says Agent Orange was tested in Florida prior to its use in Vietnam. Guess where in Florida it was used? I'm not sure where. I thought you was talking about Trump because that's what they call him. They call him Agent Orange. Agent Orange.
Yeah, well, the thing is, a lot of people, and I know a lot of people aren't military minded, and again, Buck Horace, who's a vet and stuff like that, all these people that are veterans, thank you guys for your service. This is what I mean about knowing the treachery of this white man. We've heard about the Tuskegee experiments. Everybody's seen the movie, Lawrence Fishburne, Miss Evers boys. You got all of these stories of what this white man in this country will do to black people. So nothing should be a surprise to you guys when these things happen. Yes, Demetri, I hear what you're saying in the aspect of whatever. The reason why I don't get sad about it is because it doesn't surprise me. There's nothing this white man in this country will do that is low enough. What do I always say, Demetra? The street urchin? There's nothing lower than a sea urchin. There's nothing lower in the world than a sea urchin, right? The white man could get lower than a sea urchin. So that's why I'm not surprised at the humiliation rituals, the things that they will do to maintain power. And you guys shouldn't be surprised at that either. So again, to put black people in shackles, yeah, you got these ignorant black folks running around, or white folks running around here that would love to see that again one day. But then again, you also got to look in common sense and say, does illegal immigration hurt black people? Yes, it does. All these union members, you guys, before we get out of here, I'm just going to say this. There's a movie, Ron Howard, early 80s, starred Michael Keaton. It's called Gung Ho. You guys go watch that. That movie is about how Americans we had all these unions, right? Unions made sure you had a 5-day work week, a 40-hour work week. That's all because of union fighting and struggling and doing what they're doing. When you let people that just want to work, I just want to come here and work, they're not doing anything wrong, you're undercutting the union cost of living here that we fought for all those years. This is why people are struggling. When you bring these workers that come in, they just want to work. Nobody's saying that they shouldn't work. But now you've undercut to where that $40 an hour job is $16 an hour because you're willing to take it. You're disrupting the American way of life so that you could just work for your El Salvadorian way or whatever the deal is or wherever you're from. The American way of life, we should be making $50 an hour, period. But no, you come here and you undermine it. If you want to make $50 an hour, come in the right way and do it the right way. This is the problem that we're having in this country, which is making people anti-immigrant, whatever. We've got to get control of the country and get these things back together. If it wasn't for a union, you still have children labor law. You wouldn't even have children labor laws right now. But in some of these countries these people come from, children still go to work. We got to do our homework. We got to understand the harm that happens when people do not come into the country the right way. And because black people are at the bottom of this economic system, even though we are the top consumers of the system, economically, we are the foundation of the capitalist system in the United States. And when illegal people come into work, it affects us, because those jobs, those starter jobs, is where we start at. Demetra worked at McDonald's. How many of you guys had your first job at McDonald's and you worked maybe at a Sky Cap and all these little, these jobs that are menial, that we say menial jobs, but that's where you started at to get your work experience. We can't even get these jobs now because these other groups have it. So now you've got roving gangs of black teenagers in Chicago that have nothing to do but go and rampage and steal around because they don't have a job. You got to take care of your citizens first before you can take care of anybody else. And I'll land my plane there.
Absolutely. And Cisco Defiant, yes, I'm glad that you got life insurance for yourself and your wife. It's just a must, okay? I mean, and I just, like I said, it's sad. It's something that's cheap. It's something that everybody should have, right? So I'm glad. It's just something I really believe in, because I'm telling you, I had a talking point years ago that basically asked, how many car washes does it take to have a funeral? And the answer is, who knows? Who knows how many car washes, bake sales, fish fries does it take to have a funeral? It's hard to have a bake sale, fish fry, wash a car, and grieve at the same time, trying to raise money to bury a loved one that could have and should have gotten life insurance, but for whatever reason didn't. And I've seen it a million times, and it's sad. Like I said, when I used to sell life insurance, I had a guy call once. His mom had life insurance, but it lapsed, and they didn't know it. Of course, when a policy is getting ready to lapse, you call, hey, your policy is going to lapse, hasn't been paid. So when she died, he called, and I was I had her account. I wasn't the original agent. And he says, I don't know how we're going to bury our mom. And I said, I hate to tell you this. I said, but you can always donate her body to science. And he says, thank you, because I didn't know what we were going to do. And that's what he had to do. So when you hear those type of stories, you want to put your mom or your dad away, as respectfully as possible. Donating a body to science, it's a way to, dispose of the body. Or what a lot of people don't know is that if you cannot afford to you don't have life insurance or way to get your loved one from the morgue, the city will cremate your body, but they'll put it in with the mixed up the ashes with all the people they cremated that day or in that same realm, and they'll give you a bag of that. So you have not only your loved one's ashes, but you have everybody else's ashes, because they're not going to do just one body for free. Oftentimes, if you don't get the body within 30 days, they'll cremate it anyway. Or you can get what they call a pauper's grave, where they'll put your casket in a box, a cardboard box, in with a whole bunch of other cardboard, or like not cardboard, but like plywood boxes in the same hole with a whole bunch of other people who could not afford to properly put their loved one away. So they're buried in what they call a mass grave. Okay. Now I know some people probably won't care and say, okay, it's a body, but all that could have been avoidable. That's a last ditch effort, because they have to do something with the body. But it was avoidable by just getting a policy. If you don't want to get one and leave generational wealth, at least get one that will avoid that, because I've seen that people have to do that. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's one of the saddest things you'll ever see, because nobody wants to donate their mom's body to science because they didn't make sure that her life insurance policy was up to par. So I'm just telling you what I've seen. So anyway, Donovan, you got any parting words? I'd love to get to the rest of your comments, but I'm not going to be able to.
Parting words is, you guys do not forget to download the African Diaspora Channel news app. Please get it on Google Play, Apple Store. Things are heating up now. We're in August. We are, I believe 90 days out. 90 or 120, maybe it's like 90 days out from the election. So now you're going to see a lot of people coming out. This is what I got to tell you guys. Whatever your belief is, if you're Republican, you're conservative, you're liberal, whatever the deal is, do your research on these candidates and make sure that that candidate is going to stand up for the principles that you want them to stand up for. Because again, you got your Jasmine Crockett's out there. She talks tough, but she's out of a job. Your Cori Bush just came back. How many of you guys remember Cori Bush? She was out there. 73%. She got mollywopped in St. Louis. Why? Because she was so busy worried about other people in other places rather than the people that she's supposed to represent. So you guys, please do your research on these candidates. We've said it time and time again. It isn't about Democrat or Republican. It's about what's best for you and your family and your wallet and your pocketbook. That's how you should be voting. And it should be transactional. You should be getting something from your vote, and that comes from Madam Vice President Kamala Harris.
You better get yours. Albert Chill, I'm going to find it. I have it. I just got to put it up. I keep forgetting to put it in my greatest hits of the Democratic talking points. You better get yours. Get yours. James says, much love from Chi-Town. Keep up the good work, educating our people. I shall. And thank everybody for being here. Love and appreciate every last one of y'all. And I want to say this. Please do not take anything that I say as from a position of hate or any of those type of things. Anybody who knows me will tell you I'm the least hateful person they've ever met. I'm just not built that way. I see a lot of things I don't talk about. But I'm very observant of things. Sometimes I don't talk about certain things because I don't want to appear to be stirring the pot or being divisive and things like that. It's always going to be about love and positivity, not just for our people but other people as well, because as a human being we are supposed to love. Unfortunately, everybody, they do not love us, and so I just think for us as Black Americans, it's better to spend more time loving us, because no one has had a job done on them as the job that's been done on Black Americans. From the plantation, we were taught to hate ourselves. They didn't kidnap a people and put on a plantation that hated ourselves. They kidnapped people who had a lot of pride in wherever we were, what we were doing, right? We are and were a great people, but the job that was done on us was to beat us down in every way, shape, and form, to reduce us to believing that we weren't human, because that's how we were treated, okay? Not all of our people thought that way, but you got to remember the things that they stripped from us, our names, our identities, everything that we knew, they stripped from us. And unfortunately, some of those things we've carried even to this moment. So we have to unlearn those things. And we do that by having these conversations with one another. Sometimes the conversations aren't always going to be rainbows and butterflies, although I would love it to be that way, right? We joke and stuff a lot here, but Black Americans especially, and those are y'all who are our allies, because we do have allies, whether believe it or not. We are out of time. We don't have any more time to sit and wait. That's why I get mad when we talk about other things outside of our community, because it's how long y'all think we got? I just told you, my mama, my daddy, my granny, my granddaddy, all of them have gone on thinking that we as Black folks will progress. And yes, some of them thought that we did get progress, civil rights and stuff, but a lot of them knew that wasn't progress. So a lot of our people are going on. Okay, all the baby boomers weren't with the foolishness and this, that. You know what I'm saying? So we're next. Do we want to leave out of here saying, man, we coulda, woulda, shoulda, but we focused on everything else? I'm not saying those things aren't important, but what's more important than you? Donovan, you don't go to your neighbor's house and say, you're more important than me. I want to make sure your mortgage is paid, your light bill, you good? You got food? Because if you don't, I'm going to go and get the last couple of pieces of bread I got in my house and give it to you. You don't do that. That's nonsense. So why are we as Black Americans doing that? We know why we do it, because it's something that we learned from the plantation. But see, when you raise your self-esteem as a people, self-esteem means you value yourself and you love yourself, and then you love each other, and you say, hey, when I hear my sister girl got her behind whooped up in the nail shop, or my elder brother got beat up by with baseball bats by these Arabs, and well, I'm not going in there. That's what self-esteem will have you do. I'm not. They might as well have did the same thing to me. I'm not gonna sit because they wouldn't let you do that to them. They would not allow you to beat up their people or do any of that stuff. Take the lives of your children, and then you open up the key to the store the next day. They would not allow you to do that. So that's why I said, I don't know if we really tonight when we get off of here, just take 5 minutes and think about how much time do we as Black Americans really have to waste and bloviate about everything outside of our community. How much time do we really have? I hope you come up with, we're out of time. We're behind in time. So that's why some of these conversations, we can joke and stuff. That's why I don't have a lot of conversations we used to have, because I just feel like we can, but it's just, a bunch of arguing. It's not getting us nowhere. We really have to move the ball, y'all. We do, because I want my daughter, when it's her time, I want her to say, hey, you know what? My mama fought for me to have something. I want my nieces and nephews and everybody, right? I want I don't care what y'all say about me. I want y'all to be able to say when you hear my name that heifer fought for her people to have something. That's what I want people to say about all this other stuff. Don't matter how many, whatever. None of that stuff matters. What matters is that you guys say, if I don't know anything about her, she was genuine in fighting for Black folks. That's all I care about. And I want my daughter to be able to say when she rolls me off a side of a mountain or whatever she's doing, gonna do to my body.
She's throwing you out in the desert. Don't worry.
Whatever she does, okay? I want her to be able to say, my mama fought for me and my people to have something, whether it was respect, whether it was money, whether it was stuff that was stolen from us. My mom, she did that, and she don't put nothing else on my obituary. I want her to say, Demetra K did that. R.I.P. Anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Time. And I believe on Tuesday, I'm going to have a conversation with Brother Billy, and I'm going to double check with him because we got some things to talk about. Donovan is more than welcome to join us if he wants. But in the meantime, you guys have a great rest of your evening. Love you dearly. Peace.